Hello, everyone here so far. 1 second, I just gotta mute something else here. Okay. Can you hear me? Ooh, I don't like that. Let's fix that. This person has to be muted. Here we go. All right. Nope. How's everybody doing today? Okay. I have figured this out once before. There we go. All right. Somebody type in the chat, can you hear me? Say yes or say no. Yes. Still hear me? Yes and yes. All right, awesome. That always helps. That always helps. Thank goodness. All right. So good to have everyone. And I know we're just barely at the top of the hour. So if you are still joining, so it's good to see everybody. Thought we would do some healthy cooking today, and hopefully it will be a little bit fun. Change from the typical meeting where we have an agenda and work to do after. Well, actually, you may have work to do after if you decide you want to cook the dishes that I show you today, but hopefully you'll find that to be fun, right? So that would be the ideal thing. Okay, yes, everybody can hear me. Awesome. That's great. Okay, well, I did make a few slides, even though I don't usually do that when we're cooking, but I thought I would just kind of go over what I'm going to make with you today. So I have a couple of cameras going so that you can see what's going on. I have a prep station here. This is going to be me, and I have some slides here just so that I can watch for questions on the chat if you have any there. So, you know, we have an hour and it's lunchtime, so I'm really going to just demo cooking. But if this is something that you'd like to do, we can do a longer something and actually have everyone bring their ingredients and cook along. And that's really a blast. I do Sunday meal prep and Thursday meal planning workshops and things like that. And it's really fun when everybody cooks along. So, you know, that's what I think would be a real fun thing to do. And for those of you who don't know me, I guess I didn't introduce myself. I'm Janelle Anise, probably known on the web as Sunday Meal Prep. I'm very passionate about cooking healthy, but making cooking fun and enjoyable, and healthy eating should be exciting, not boring and drab. We don't get a lettuce leaf and a stick of carrot. We get good, healthy food, and that's really what it's all about. It served me well, so in my health and in my athletic performance, so I would like to be able to share all of that with you as well. So welcome everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. So trying to move through the slides. Let's do this here. All right, try it this way. There we go. All right, so like I said, meal prep, I like to make it healthy. I like to make it easy. I like to make it delicious. And that's really all there is to it. Sure, I love when there's a holiday and I have some time off work. I love making, you know, more elaborate things that take up a lot of time. But most people want to make it healthy, make it easy, make it delicious. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put together a Hawaiian chicken, which is really easy and really delicious. I picked this because you can go out to a restaurant or order this delivered and you'll end up with a very unhealthy meal many times, because dishes like this have MSG, sugar like in loads, preservatives, chemicals, all kinds of things that you don't need. They add calories and really diminish how healthy it could be. So we're going to put together a Hawaiian chicken with all fresh and good ingredients. And this can be either grilled or baked in the oven. So we're going to put that together today. And it's something that you can put together and put in the oven, and you don't have to clean up because it's all done on a cookie sheet, or you can throw everything that you see here on the grill. Either way. I didn't know what the weather would be when I started planning for this, so I planned for something that can be cooked either way today. And if we have time, I know we have an hour, so we'll see what we can do. I'll give you some quick and easy healthy snack and hydration ideas that you can do anytime and have these things kind of ready to go. So I know how meetings can be back to back to back. So if you have a snack ready, that's going to be awesome throughout the day. And again, if there's time, I will show you a quick breakfast meal prep. I usually do this on the weekends, but I'm going to do it today for you if we have time. And I'll put together those overnight oats, and they're really delicious. And it's just a nice change maybe from eggs, which I eat a lot of as well. And of course, I'm here to answer your questions, so definitely plan to do that. All right, let's get started and see what we can cook up. So this camera is the prep area, so hopefully you can see there. And this one should have what I'm actually prepping. Can you see? There. So that's going to show you from the top. So hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'll check the chat from time to time to see if there are any questions, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question, because we don't have, that many people. I would stay muted when you're not asking a question, just so that everybody can hear well. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm still right down here. So let me show you. Yes.
It's Deidre. You need to exit out of the presentation on your other camera, because the screen is black.
Stop share. How about that? Is that better?
No.
Can you see?
All I can see is where you have your food on the tray.
That's what you want to see.
Okay.
Because I'm going to start cooking it now. And
okay.
Yes, because I want you to see what I'm fixing, and it's not about me. All right.
No problem.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I kind of switcherooing around so that you can see what I'm fixing. So I just have a simple cutting board, and ingredients for this, I have a fresh pineapple. If you are not able to get a fresh pineapple, although I've been finding them lately, you can use canned or frozen for this. You're not going to get quite the same texture, but it's doable. I have some good wholesome honey. I have liquid aminos. I'll talk about that ingredient in a moment. Coconut chips are going to be the very last ingredient that I add. If you don't have any coconut, some almonds would work well with this recipe. This calls for a couple of bell peppers. These are gigantic, so I'm not even going to use the whole thing. And I have some asparagus, which is just an optional item. I have some cilantro. I have some ginger, a small red onion, and I have some black pepper and some garlic powder. So I didn't want to have the chicken laying out on my counter, so let me get it now out of the refrigerator. Definitely keep chicken chilled until you're going to use it. Okay, so what I have are, these are chicken thighs. And chicken thighs have a lot of good flavor. It's one of the reasons why I like them. But the other reason too, well, they're also cheap, but they're also very forgiving when it comes to the cooking. Chicken breast can dry out in no time. All I'm doing is cutting these bags open and getting the chicken thighs out and putting them in the bowl that I'm going to use to marinate this. And there we go. And these, I have about 2 pounds here, but this is not like a recipe that you have to have an exact amount. If you just have one package, or you just don't want to make a lot, maybe you're just cooking for yourself, then you don't need that. I'm going to run over and rinse my hands after handling that chicken. Also, if you have a large family, just grab 2 cookie sheets and make a whole boatload of this because it's super easier if you have a big grill, just load it up. Okay, so I just have my chicken right here in the bowl, nothing to it. So, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. We have a few people that are still waiting in the waiting room to be let in.
Oh, let me let them in. Sorry. Here we go. Admit all. Okay. Welcome for those of you just joining. This is June Ellen here, and we're just getting started, so you really haven't missed anything. I have a couple pounds of chicken thighs here in a bowl. They're already defrosted and ready to go. And we're going to make a Hawaiian chicken dish that can either be grilled or baked in the oven. And you'll see the rest of the ingredients as I go through. And I'm going to make sure everyone gets this recipe so you can make it on your own. So I want to just kind of add some ingredients here that give this a quick, slight marinade. And one is coconut aminos. Why am I using coconut aminos instead of soy sauce? Because soy sauce is almost a salt overload. And hey, I love a good bit of salt to flavor my food, just like anybody else. But I love that soy sauce flavor, the Asian flavor, without going overboard. So this is a healthier alternative, and you'll find that to be super flavorful. Now, I happen to have some fresh ginger, which is wonderful. If you don't, the powdered ginger would be fine for this. Like I said, this is not a fussy dish. I'm just going to cut like the dry part off the end here. We don't need that. And honestly, let me grab a spoon because I can show you a really easy way to deal with the ginger. Just use a spoon to get rid of the hard woody part on the outer edge, because we don't really want that. Ginger is going to give this a wonderful flavor. And then we're just going to grate some into here. Now notice I am not here with a bunch of measuring tools. And that's what I like to teach, is to get over that obsession with a bunch of measuring tools. It's just more to clean up later. If we're baking, we have to measure, right? It's all about precision, but it's really not necessary for a dish like this. If you like the flavor of ginger, then load it up, right? But if I had to guess, I would say that's a good tablespoonful of ginger, and that's going to be a good amount for this. I'm throwing a little cilantro in here just for the marinade, stems and all. I just want the flavor. If you're one of those people who doesn't like cilantro, you can add some fresh celery leaves to kind of give a fresh flavor to this. I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. And I like my peppers, so a good teaspoon of that. And we just kind of want to mix this around. Add a little tiny bit of olive oil. Don't need much. And just let this get happy while we get the other items ready. Okay. This isn't something that has to marinate for long, but if you're in a situation where you have a little bit of time to put this far together and then you want to put this in the refrigerator, you can do that and that would be fine. But I'm just going to stick this to the side for now. And we can get these vegetables up and running. I have green and an orange bell pepper. Any kind will do. I really like the red ones, and I couldn't get a red one. So here we go. But if you have a couple different colors of bell pepper, it really helps with that whole we eat with our eyes thing. It's going to make the dish really pretty. I'm just throwing this on the cookie sheet. That's all we need to do with it. And I'm just going to check to see if anyone else is waiting. I don't think so. Admit. Hi, Lisa. There we go. All right. I am not going to use this whole pepper because it's ginormous. Okay. So far, pepper's on the tray. This isn't hard, is it? Okay. I have the red onion, and I really love it because it's just a little bit sweeter, and it's going to be pretty on here. I cut it in half the long way, as you can see. And now I want to keep the tail on, the root on, and cut the tail off. The root is going to be the fuzzy part. Just cut that off. And then we just want to peel back the papery skin. If we were serving onion raw, sometimes you take another layer back, but this is going to be cooked. All right. The reason why we're keeping that end on is to hold it together so we don't have something slippery on the cutting board. So we're just going to take the point of the knife and just kind of draw it through here. We want big pieces for this. We're going to roast or grill. Okay. And then just take the end off. And now you have these nice moon-shaped pieces. And I'm just gonna kind of break them apart and get them here on the cookie sheet. So this, by the way, I already put the foil on the sheet because I find when I do these things live and I take the roll of foil out, it makes so much noise, nobody can hear. But I put a double layer of foil. So once this is cooked and you serve this food, you just throw away the foil and you're done with it. So no pots and pans, no baking dish, nothing to clean up, just my cutting board and rinse a few utensils. And again, I don't have measuring stuff, so really very little to do here. All right, I'm done with ginger. I'm gonna set it aside. Forgot to put the honey in the marinade. Very little. This doesn't need a lot of sweetness, but just maybe about a tablespoon of that. And let that roll. Very little, okay? Just a little bit, okay. Let that sit there and be happy a little longer. All right, the pineapple. You want it to be soft. I've had this thing for a week and a half. Just see, you want to kind of, you don't want your finger to go through it, but you need it to be soft or else it's not going to be sweet at all. And I'm just gonna lop the end off. I think we'll plant these. If anybody's had success planting one of these, let me know. I would be interested in knowing how you did that and how it went. I'm gonna cut this end off now. Oops. Okay, get rid of that. And now we just need to get rid of the hard outer part. Ooh, it's a little overripe in places. That's all right, it's gonna be fine. It has these brown marks, don't worry about it. I'm just cutting this away. Now, if I really wanted to be totally unwasteful, I would take these pieces, put them in a pot of water with a piloncillo and some baking soda and make tepache, which is a Mexican beverage, which is very delicious. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna put this in the compost so that I can use the compost in my garden. I keep a damp cloth with me so I can just kind of clean my hands off without messing up my dish towels constantly. Learn from experience. All right, cut that down the middle and one more time. This is very, very right. Okay, so this part right here, we don't want. It's like the hard core piece. So we're just gonna cut that out. But I'm not going to throw this away. All right, it is very useful, and I'll tell you how. I'm gonna stick these in a dish and set it aside, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do with them after we get the chicken ready. I don't want to confuse things by making multiple dishes at one time. So let's just cut these up into pieces that'll be nice on each person's plate. You can cut it into smaller pieces if you like, but this looks about right to me. If you're making this dish for children, you can cut this up smaller along with all the other ingredients. Just watch your oven time because it's going to cook faster. Keep a couple of these pieces to the side that are a little over ripened. Okay, so you can make this any way you want, but when you have these nice big pieces, the reason why I'm leaving these big is because then they'll take the same amount of time as the chicken. So if you are cutting these into small pieces, you're probably going to want to start the chicken for a few minutes, and then I've got to turn on my oven. Then you can add the fruit. So just keep that in mind as you're going along. Okay, I have all this here, which is everything that's going to go on here. I can also add a vegetable. So I have some fresh broccoli, and I mean, not broccoli, this is asparagus. I was thinking about broccoli. We can add some asparagus to this to make it an even more well-rounded meal. The asparagus, though, takes less time than the chicken. So I'm going to leave this to the side and I'm going to add it a little bit later. Okay. Back to the chicken. This is kind of blended in. I'm going to add a little bit more coconut aminos here just to have some to stir in with the vegetables. All right. Let's get these down on the pan, starting skin side down. Okay, so not the pretty side, but we'll flip them halfway through cooking. Okay. Guess what? You can make this same dish with sausage, like a good chicken sausage or pork sausage or any kind that you like, and probably less cooking time because that's usually pre-cooked. This is, by the way, 2 pounds of chicken, and it kind of fits perfectly on the cookie sheet. This is a large baking sheet. If you have a bigger family, you can either do 2 sheets, but make sure you're mixing up the vegetables and the chicken because that's going to blend all these flavors so nicely. And you want to be able to do that. So or if you have less, this is not a fussy recipe by any means. So let me see, one more person is in the waiting room. Hi, Melanie. Thanks for joining. Okay, I'm going to throw the rest of this liquid over everything. Just add it to the vegetables, and that's all I have for that, and it's ready to go. Now, here's something that you can do. You can put this together, say lunchtime, and then put foil over it and put this whole thing in the refrigerator, and then cook it in the evening when you're ready to eat. That would work fine. It may take a few more minutes because it's also ice cold out of the refrigerator, but just a way to save time if you have a lot going on in the evening. Maybe you're picking up the kids from sports and a lot of things going on. So this is going to go in a 375-degree oven. And I'm going to set a little timer on my watch so I don't lose track of it, and just to check on it in a few minutes. But there you have what we have so far. Super easy. I love these sheet pan suppers. I do them often because I love to cook and I hate cleaning. If somebody wants to come to my house and clean up the dishes, I'll cook up a storm. I really will, but I don't like the cleanup. Now I'm sticking this in an oven that is not really 100% heated up. So it's probably going to take a little longer than I normally would expect it to take, but that's okay. So I'm going to move on to cooking something else. Anybody have any questions? I'm just checking the chat just in case, or you can just unmute and ask me any questions so far. This is easy. Can you make this? Super easy. And here's why it's healthy. We didn't put MSG. We didn't put soy sauce. We didn't, use ingredients that are kind of unknown. Like if you got this from the carryout, you don't know what it is. I use pasture-raised, good quality chicken thighs. You can make this with chicken breast or chicken tenders. Just make sure they stay moist and you don't burn them. You could even do this with chicken wings if you wanted to. It's healthy because I have a fresh pineapple and fresh vegetables, so it's a pretty well-rounded meal. I have carbohydrates, I have protein. Only thing missing is a healthy fat, but we could sure figure out something with a salad that may have an olive oil dressing, or maybe add some avocado at the end. Actually, the coconut will add some fat to the meal, so well-rounded and healthy. Typically, if you order this kind of dish delivered, it's going to take you longer than it does to fix it. So that's the good news. We can get it done in a hurry, and it's easy. All right, so let me talk about what I was going to do with the part that everybody throws away. I don't know if you saw me live the other day. I had a live chat on the economics of healthy eating, a 2-parter. And one of the things that I stated, and I stand behind, the most expensive food is the food you waste. So throwing this away is waste, because we can make something really good out of it. And I'm going to show you when you get a couple of baggies. And some fresh veggies. Here we are. All right, so I have this part of the pineapple that we normally don't eat, and then I have a piece that's a little overripe, not so pretty. I have some Ziploc bags. I don't know, I would say these are like a quart size. I like these from IKEA because they're strong. I can actually reuse them. And let's put a good healthy scoop of spinach. But any greens you have, including the tops from celery or carrots, kale, you know, whatever you like. You're not going to taste these vegetables when you make a smoothie, and that's what we're doing. We're making smoothie bags. So one of my favorite little easy go-to things. So then we're going to take these parts of the pineapple that you normally would not think you want to eat because it's like the core, but I'm telling you, once you blend it up in the blender, you will not know the difference. And then we're going to split this banana that is very ripe in half. So we kind of have, we call this a tropical smoothie. You got the pineapple banana vibe going on, right? And what I'm going to do is put a few pieces of coconut in here in each bag. You can make a whole batch of these on the weekend with different things, right? Blueberries, strawberries, whatever. But I definitely didn't want to waste the core of that pineapple. Now just kind of take the air out of these and seal them up. And what you're going to do is put these in the freezer, right? And then whenever you want a smoothie, you just take this out, put some almond milk or whatever you like in the blender, put the contents of this bag, it'll all be frozen, so it'll make a nice thick smoothie and add a quality protein. And there you go. So I'm going to stick mine in the freezer so they'll be ready to go. Maybe I'll have a smoothie tomorrow. It'll be a good healthy snack, or on those times when we have to kind of sip through lunch because we don't have time, at least that's something good to have. And it's pretty filling, especially because all of those fruits are frozen. It tends to be a nice thick smoothie. So that's just a way to avoid wasting that. Okay. Questions so far? I'm just looking at the chat just to make sure that I'm answering everybody's questions as best we can. Something that you can make super easy and really doesn't take any time at all. So glad to show that to you. All right, let's move on to some breakfast meal prep. How about that? I want to put together one of my favorite go-to breakfasts. I usually fix something like this maybe on Sunday so that I have them ready for during the week. I have a 1 pint, is it half 1 pint? Yeah, this is a mason jar, but any jar will do. You just need something with a lid on it about this size. I have some ground flaxseed and some chia seeds, so we're getting some really good nutrition here. I do have a tablespoon to measure the chia and the flaxseed, and I have some rolled oats, okay? Just plain rolled oats. And so we're gonna make overnight oats. And skip that over. Overnight chia oats. So they're gonna be really delicious. So off with the lid. We've got the oats here. And I don't need to measure because I make it out of the same jar every time. I want to go a little under half the jar with the oats, okay? But if you have to measure, you get a measuring cup. I don't see the need because this isn't going to change if you have a teaspoon extra or less, okay? But the chia and the flax, they can pack some calories. I want the right amount, not too much. So I want a tablespoon of chia seeds. What the chia seeds are going to do is cause this to kind of thicken too. They have kind of a natural quality about them. Once they're moistened, they'll thicken. And I'm adding some flax seeds. This is a really high quality fat and also provides fiber along with the oats. That's in there. And I love pure maple syrup in this. I'm out of that, so I'm just going to add some honey, which I also like, just a little bit. Does not need much. That's probably a half a teaspoon. I don't have a real sweet tooth, so I don't over sweeten things. So if you need to, add some more sweetening to this. And we're just going to add unsweetened almond milk, and it's going to kind of seep down through that oat. So let it do its thing. You want to add like an inch over the oats, because these oats are going to suck this up and drink it up, and it'll be thick by tomorrow. Close the lid. Shake it up. Okay. And just make sure you fully shake it, because I can see some of the flax kind of stuck to the side there. There we go. All right. That's all I have in here. Now, what I'm going to do next is simply put this in the refrigerator. You know, when I happen to be in the refrigerator later this evening to get something, I may give it a little shake, but don't worry about it if you don't have an opportunity to do that. Tomorrow morning, this is going to be thicker, a little bit more gelled, and I can take the lid off, and most likely I'm going to put some blueberries on top of here. I have some blackberries and maybe some chopped nuts, and it's a really good breakfast. If you need kind of more of a breakfast, a nice soft-boiled egg with this is really nice, but I think you'll find it to be pretty filling, and this is super easy to make. You can just, if you have a family, or if you like having this more than once, you can just line the jars up and boom, 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 make this. You can even make, you know, some of them with maple syrup and some of them with honey. You can add vanilla to this. The sky's the limit. I would suggest try to make it straight up the way of showing you the first time, get used to it, and then you're like, oh, yeah. One of my favorites is to make this chocolate. So I'll use unsweetened chocolate, you know, 90% cacao powder in here with maple syrup and the other ingredients that you have. And you have a chocolate chia oats. And I'll tell you, start the day off with chocolate. It's all good, right? I mean, that makes me happy at any rate. I'm going to put these things in the refrigerator. I don't like leaving them out any longer than I need to. And that pudding will start doing its thing, so to speak. I will go on to cooking or fixing something else. Okay, here we are. So back to snacks again. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. It starts to get distracting with too many ingredients all over the place. All right, so we all know that fresh veggies are a good thing to have and a good thing to eat. Let's see, I have some baby carrots here. I love these little miniature cucumbers. I have some small tomatoes. These little peppers are delicious. And honestly, I can eat these just the way they are. Another favorite way, of course, is to spice it up with some tahini and lime. But let's face it, sometimes you just want a dip, you know, or a sauce of some sort. So I want to show you a quick dip that you can put together to enjoy with your vegetables. Or if you have someone in the household who is not a good vegetable eater, you can entice them with a dip, and that's going to, you know, maybe help get that person on board with the whole idea of snacking on some vegetables, because it is obviously of value to eat the vegetables, and not everybody wants them plain. So let's do it. All right, I have plain unsweetened Greek yogurt. Notice again, we're not measuring, we're just putting a blob of it. Okay, if I had to measure, we had a half a cup there. You can make as little or as much of this as you like. And that's it for the yogurt. And I have a lemon. And this lemon is ripe, but not as ripe as I would like. So I'm gonna soften it up. I'm just putting my palm on here and kind of softening this up a little bit so that I can squeeze the juice out of it. And there are all kinds of fancy apparatus, but then you have to wash it. So just do it this way. You don't have a lot to deal with. I'll cut that in half, but I don't want the seeds in my dip, so I am going to use a little strainer here and just squeeze. We're adding some lemon to this. It's going to give it more of a sour cream flavor by doing that. And yet the good thing about using Greek yogurt is that you're getting some good protein. Compost pile is going to be happy with all of this. All right, so that was the juice of half a lemon. What would you say there? About a tablespoon. Okay. Now we can season this. And your options, again, are super endless. I happen to like this Sunny Paris. You can get it at Penzies. But what it is, basically, is dried purple shallots, chives, green peppercorn, basil, tarragon. So you could just add all these things. I like this. So a good handful of that. But any seasoning that you happen to like, or fresh herbs if you have them. I think everything died in Houston with our recent ice storm, but time to replant, right? All right, so that's that. And we could stop here and just put this in the refrigerator for a little while and let the flavors just kind of melt together. But who likes it hot? Who likes it spicy? Anybody? How about some sriracha? So now we're gonna make it into a sriracha dip, and that just brings on some good flavor. Hey, you put as little or as much as you like, depending on your heat tolerance, I guess you could call it. But look at the pretty color that makes. This is delicious with these veggies as a dip, or you could drizzle this over a taco or over any of corn. Okay, so this dip is ready to go. And what I'm gonna do is put it on a closed container and it'll be ready to eat. It just needs to kind of settle in the refrigerator for a little while. So that's all I need to do, and it'll be ready to go with those vegetables. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're good. All right. I'm going to pull the chicken out of the oven and just see how it's doing. I have a feeling it's not as done as I would expect because the oven wasn't preheated. But let's just take a look at it and see what it'll look like at this stage. So I had to set a timer for 15 minutes. And yeah, we need more time because the oven just barely heated up. So you just want to keep this going. All right, but usually about after 15 minutes or so, this is going to start to toast up on the bottom, and then you can flip them over like I'm doing now. Those coconut aminos are going to help give this like that golden, it'll start to brown, which is going to be really good. But I can see that the vegetables are also still, not hardly cooked. So I don't really care about preheating the oven. Just throw it in, but expect it to take a little longer. But if you want something to come out precisely according to what the recipe says, then you are going to need to preheat your oven so that you get the exact results exactly as expected. So, lovey sriracha. Me too, Jillian and Teresa. Yes, I mean, I love it. And by the way, this is not to do an advertisement, but this is a Texas company. They're now nationally available in Whole Foods and a lot of stores. And I do love their salsas. I'm just getting my yogurt put away. I don't like to leave it out. Okay. All right. So something else I was going to fix while everything's in the oven. And if anybody wants to either unmute or just type a question while we're here chatting and while that's cooking, feel free to interact. Let me know if you would like to do this where we actually cook along, because that's a blast. Everybody can cook together. We do a dish that can be started and finished within the time. Then everybody gets to show their dish. That's a lot of fun. So let me know if that's something that you would like to do. I don't know if any of you know, I put myself out there in favorite chefs, and I actually entered that thing against professional chefs and I didn't die. So, you know, the lesson learned, just go for it if you want to try something. Anyway, quarterfinals end tonight, so please vote for me. All right, so what you're wondering, what is she doing with these 2 jars and a cucumber? You know, one of the things a lot of us, at least to me, it's always been a problem, is to hydrate enough, to drink enough water, and yet I certainly don't want to drink soda or anything like that. It's not healthy. And a lot of the bottled products are expensive, but you can make your own flavored water, and it's really delicious, and it'll kind of, you know, entice you to drink the water because there's some flavor. So I've added cucumber to this one, and I know that may seem odd, but I'm telling you, this is so delicious, and it just tastes like summer. It's so good. And in this other one, I happen to have several pieces of citrus here, so we can make a flavored water out of this. Now, I know you can buy flavored waters that have pretty much the same things that I'm sticking in here, but you pay a premium. You're paying for the container. You're paying for somebody else to put it together. And this is something you can just kind of do while you're waiting for something else in the oven to finish cooking, or just quick put this together on the weekend. This is something your kids can do, right? Because you can do these flavored waters with strawberries and blueberries and things if they don't have to handle a knife. And so the kids can get involved, and then maybe they'd be more excited about drinking water instead of other things. I really like the orange, so I'm going to go with one more slice of that. Okay. So I have a few more pieces. I just do up 2 or 3 of these at a time. And as I said, I drink water. I'm pretty good about it, but sometimes in the afternoon, it's like, oh, just something different, right? Between meetings, I just grab one of my flavored waters, and it's just such a nice treat. So all I'm going to do with these is fill them with fresh water, stick them in the refrigerator, and honestly, you'll get the flavor out of these in as little as, 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't take long. Obviously, the longer they sit, the more the water flavors. So you don't want to leave these in the refrigerator for a week because they just start to get a little overwhelming, and we don't need that. So just let it sit for long enough for these flavors to blend. I've done this with watermelon, and it's my favorite. Watermelon, and also you can do watermelon and cucumber together. My mom, who is 82, would love all these hints to use food. She is single and always throws a lot of food away. Yes, throwing food away is tough, I'm telling you. So using these bits and pieces, just allows you to eat more quality food. Ask your mom, Jamie, to join me on Sunday meal prep, and this is how I cook. I am such a cheapskate. I don't care if I were a millionaire. I don't like to throw anything away. So I can give you another tip to take back to your mom, Jamie. So every week I start a container, something like this, just a simple container. And you don't have to watch me fill these with water. I'll just set these aside and do that later. Every time I'm fixing something and I have a little piece remaining, what did I do with the piece of onion I just had in my hand? Okay, no accounting for that. I lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. So I had this piece of onion left, right? But, and I was just lopping off the end. But I can take this little part off here and throw it in the bowl, right? Let's say I took that cilantro out and I just kind of chopped up too much of it, throw it in the bowl. I chopped up what I thought was a cup of onions for something, and it's like, oh, too much, throw it in the bowl. Extra mushrooms, oh, throw it in the bowl. I cooked broccoli, and it's more than I want. I throw 2 pieces in the bowl. I just keep throwing stuff in the bowl. Friday breakfast. So like, here's a piece of cilantro that can go. Friday breakfast, I pull this thing out and I make an omelet or a frittata with all the stuff. So you never know what I'm going to have on Friday because it could be anything. But believe it or not, broccoli and eggs, it's a great combination. I mean, obviously there's going to be some things that just don't work out. Sometimes I'll do like a breakfast bowl with the leftovers. Cauliflower rice makes a great breakfast bowl if you have any of that left over. Sometimes I kind of almost get in a mode where I kind of accidentally cut a little extra. And make sure that I have something for Friday. What do you think is Jillian has a good question. What do you think is the best way to store your fruit and veggies? That is such an awesome question. It depends on what it is, because like my sweet potatoes, my onions, I have a butternut squash here, and tomatoes and lemons and avocados that are still ripening are on the counter, right? Butternut squash is going to last forever. I could put it in the refrigerator, but it's fine on the counter, so there's no need to fill up the refrigerator. Tomatoes, until they're really ripe, stay out. Lemons, until they're ripe, stay out. Same with avocados. But once these get to the point where they're like ready to put in the refrigerator, like this afternoon, then they'll go in the refrigerator, right? So that's with those. Now, avocado is, you know, I love avocado, but it's a sensitive one. And I bought too many not too long ago. And so I waited until they were ripe on the counter. I wrapped each one tightly with plastic wrap, stuck them in this Ziploc bag, and they're in the freezer. Okay, so these avocados are in the freezer. Now to use these frozen avocados, and I'm getting them right back in the freezer right now. To use these, you need to defrost them completely, and there's no shortcut on that. You just want to put them on the counter overnight until they're totally defrosted. Okay, and then you know, unwrap it, cut it. They're not going to serve you for, you know, sliced on the salad type applications, but you can make guacamole out of them and when they're done that way. So that is definitely the thing. Your herbs, like when you buy a package of cilantro or parsley, they're best in a tall container, standing upright with a little water on the bottom, so almost like you have a plant, and stick it in the refrigerator door. If the water starts to look murky, trim the end off and add fresh water again, and they should keep pretty well. To be honest, as soon as the garden gets going, I don't buy fresh herbs. I just go out and snip off what I like, and you know, growing a few fresh herbs is a real treasure. Let's see, what else? Honestly, I get a lot of my produce from Imperfect Foods, and they publish like an info card on exactly how to store everything. And I thought it was extremely helpful because there are some things that shouldn't be stored next to the other. I want to say keep your bananas away from other things. And usually, as a general rule, fruits and vegetables should be separate. So you're wondering about this, but avocados are a fruit. Okay. In a basket over there, I have sweet potatoes and there's onions, but they're kind of separate. And those will be fine on the counter. When the onions start to sprout, just make sure to eat those. Another thing with food, bell peppers, you know, in the summer, these get cheap, right? The colored ones you can get for like $2 for $1, and the green ones up to like $5 for $1. That's when you buy them, cut them up into like strips, and put those strips on a cookie sheet into the freezer. Let them freeze completely before you put them in a large Ziploc bag. That way you can reach into that Ziploc bag in the freezer and grab a handful, and they're not all frozen together in one big wad. How do I know that? Because I did it, and then you're stuck with the whole thing. They will not serve you well for oven roasted like what we're doing for grilling and salads, but they will be perfect bell peppers purchased at the cheapest, freshest, most nutritious for your chili, for your curry, for any time that you would be putting the peppers in the food. So I always stock up when they're in season. Same thing with strawberries and blueberries. They freeze very well, and you can use them in your smoothies and anything that you would normally be cooking them. So I definitely do that when they're in their peak season, but I'm going to have no problem using this one up. But that's the other thing too. If for some reason, you know, something came up and I want a trip to Paris and I have to leave tomorrow, I could just chop this up and put it in the freezer rather than letting it go bad and come home from Paris and it's gone. And boy, I wish that would happen. All right, we have a few minutes left. So I'm just looking to see if there are other questions. Anybody know how much this butternut squash weighs? If you saw me live the other night, you are cheating. So I'm just curious. Type in the box what you think it weighs. Type in the chat. 2 pounds from John. Good guess. Anybody else? He's low, so it weighs more than that. 4 pounds, 55 pounds. Come on, Jillian, I wouldn't be able to lift it. 3.5. Okay. All right, we got a lot of guesses. I mean, this is a wonderful vegetable. It's such a good value, and there's so many ways to fix it, and we certainly don't have time in 10 minutes to do that. This one weighs 2.81 pounds, just to let you know. So the 3 pound guess was really close. So this is a pretty good size butternut squash. Now, how much do you think it costs? It's in season. I'll give you that clue. Put the price in. Everybody tell me, what did it cost? Type it, type it, type it. And I'm going to go get my notes that show me how much it costs at all the different stores that I shopped around. All over the place, $3 all around. Okay, all right. So here's the thing about this. This is 2.81 pounds. So Whole Foods has it only organic this week. They don't have the non-organic, and it's $1.69 a pound. So if anybody wants to do the math, or I'll tell you that it comes to $4.75 for this baby. Okay, HEB has the regular ones that are non-organic, and they're $1.19 a pound. So that brings it to $3.34. Aldi has them for 99 cents a pound. Great place to shop. $2.78. Whoever said $3, you can get it for $3 at Aldi. Sprouts has it for $1.29 a pound, also organic, so it comes to $3.72. Kroger has the nerve of selling it for $1.59 a pound. I didn't do the calculations, but it's almost as much as the Whole Foods organic one. However, this one comes from Trader Joe's, and it's $1.69 each. They charge each. So just something to watch for, buying by the pound or buying by the per each. The deal is definitely at Trader Joe's for this, not necessarily on everything, but I think the important thing in buying food is don't discount what seems to be the specialty store. Sometimes the best deals are just the way things are priced. So that's per each on that. So that's the bargain. So obviously when you're there and they're per each, you go digging through the bin and get the biggest one you can find, right? But if you're in the grocery store and you're paying by the pound, you just buy the size you need because it adds up. But here's an all opposite thing. This was the most expensive at Whole Foods because partly what their price happened to be, but also that was only organic. But then when you look at haddocks, which are wonderful fish fillets, I was able to get them at Whole Foods for $9.99 a pound, which was considerably cheaper than Costco. So it's interesting to look at the price of food and how it changes. And of course, pick up the bargain wine while you're at Trader Joe's. Absolutely. They have some of the best snacks too. But they actually have a lot of good healthy options there, a whole bunch of things that I think this coconut comes from Trader Joe's, and it's a large, I could show you. I buy the biggest coconut I can find because then I can always chop it smaller. But these big chips are nice on this particular dish. Because then we're running out of time, and obviously that's still baking, but I'll post online a picture of the finished product. What I'm going to do for the last few minutes of baking is put this coconut on top and let it get nice and toasty. But keep an eye on that, because you'll burn the coconut very easily, so you really have to watch. This is very, easygoing dish. You leave it in the oven. Don't worry about it. I was able to do all these other things while it's in there, and it doesn't need to be stirred and fussed with. But once you start cooking the coconut, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. And if you don't like coconut, or if you don't have coconut, sliced almonds are really good on top of this dish as well. So one last thing, if instead I were grilling this, which you can do, this is all delicious on the grill, just too difficult to run back and forth while we're doing it. You want to make sure you cut the pieces big enough so they don't fall through the grill, or use like a little rack. What do you put the asparagus in? I'm going to put it right on the very dish that we made. So I think we have time. We have a few minutes left. I don't want anybody to get in trouble for spending too much time fooling around during lunch break. But like I said, if you want to do something where we all cook together, that would be a blast. It's all fun. See everybody go. Okay, so you can see that this is coming along nicely, much further along. So now we want to add this asparagus. So here's another thing. Like I said, I hate cleaning. I just do. So I just have a paper bag, because I need to drizzle a little olive oil on the asparagus, and I don't feel like using another bowl. So just, stick it there. Tiny bit of salt and a little pepper would be nice. This asparagus doesn't take as long as the other items, so I didn't want to stick it on there so soon. Another thing that's good with this are the sugar snap peas. They should be coming into season soon. They're a spring item. Eat what's in season. It's really going to be the best. Now see, this is going to toast up in a bit. I can see it coming. So just get these a little happy in the oil and just lay them around on the top. And if you're cooking the asparagus on the grill, I just recently cut a video on how to do that. You definitely don't want to burn the ends, but that takes a few minutes and comes out really delicious. There we go. Just lay that on top. Now I've kind of lost some of the time that it was supposed to be baking, but I'll just check it in a few minutes. So let me get this back in the oven. You see, I just added the asparagus later, because I don't want to overcook it. But this dish, it has a lot of color. You can definitely arrange it on your plate in a very beautiful way. See, no bowl, just throw this in the trash. I don't like to clean, right? So basically, this dish is a meal in itself. You have several vegetables, and it's healthy. You've got your protein with the chicken, and the coconut is just a nice addition at the very end. If you need the meal to be a little bit heartier, or suddenly more people show up, you can always add some steamed rice to the dish, but I don't really think it needs it. It's just an option that I want to just throw out that you can try. Did anybody else have any other questions? Because we are at the top of the hour. Okay, something may come to mind afterward, and you'll see the finished product later this evening online. So it's been fun cooking with everybody, and good to see some of your faces. Not all of you put your face up, but good to see everybody. And maybe we can do this again soon. And I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope you'll try this and let me know how you like it. Thanks, everyone.